Hi, I'm Tony Bowron.
And I'm Juan Gomez.
Welcome to our class on using Unreal Engine for story design. So the agenda for today, we're going to go over what, why, and how to use Unreal Engine for story development. We're going to talk about virtual production hardware and the software stack for story design. We're going to go into exploring the story, what that means. We're going to do some live performance capture. We're going to assemble that capture, and we're going to explore the other sides of the story. And then we're going to create some virtual cameras. We're going to make an edit. We're going to introduce sounds. And then we're going to adjust lighting and atmosphere. And then we're going to show you how to render it out, and we'll have a Q&A session after that.
So Tony, what are we doing in this presentation?
So we're going to show you how to visualize your story in Unreal Engine.
What are the advantages of designing your story in Unreal Engine?
So you can quickly explore ideas, and you can try iterations very quickly. Also, you can collaborate with others in this environment to discover new ideas.
So why it is useful to visualize your story in Unreal Engine?
Because you're in this world, you can see through your character's eyes. You can see what they see, and you can see how they perceive the world. And in fact, many writers are now using Unreal to build and explore their ideas visually.
How are we going to visualize a script in Unreal Engine?
Well, first we're going to explore the location. And then we're going to break down our action, and we're going to do some capture performance.
Sounds good. Let's go.
Here is an example of the ideal hardware setup for virtual production in Unreal Engine, regardless of which version of Unreal Engine 5 you are using.
Some more hardware you're going to need is a wireless router, an Apple iPad, something AR enabled. iPad Pro 11 inches is nice for the LiveLink VCam app. You're going to want an Apple iPhone, also ARKit enabled for the LiveLink Face app. And a performance capture system, such as Xsense or Mocap or Rococo, etc. And they will have their own software and Unreal Engine plugin.
It's best to start from the virtual production template, which you can find under the Unreal Project browser, Film and Video Live Events. You will see the virtual production icon. Once you create a project like this, it will enable all the plugins that you will need for virtual production. Switchboard is the one that allows you just to control multiple computers at once, sync projects, launch projects, even assign take names. Multi-user is the plugin that allows you to collaborate with multiple instances of Unreal Engine. Tape recording is for recording your performance capture or anything animated. Sequencer is usually what is going to play your animation. You can actually keyframe animation. Level snapshots is a really cool tool that allows you just to store a state of the scene at a specific moment, so you can switch between different variations of the scene. The virtual camera plugin. LiveLink is the API that communicates with external hardware or software. Movie Render Queue is for rendering your sequence. An Actor Palette is a really nice utility that allows you just to populate your scene with all the content that is in your content browser. There is some important things to know about working with multi-user. It's best to use revision control, such as Perforce, plastics, Git, etc. Multi-user is only needed when more than one computer is involved. And one thing to remember is don't close the multi-user server during a session, because this will stop the session and you will lose a lot of the things that you have done. They record only on one machine and use BP roles when doing VCam in multi-user session. It's highly recommended that you use Switchboard for managing multi-user sessions and BP roles. Okay, I think this is enough with boring slides.
So our first step is to explore this environment. So explain this environment. What is it?
Cool. So we have here a trench. It's a trench that is supposed to be in the middle of a war. This is an environment that was provided by Rotu Entertainment. So thank you guys for letting us use your amazing content for this class. So in this trench, they're supposed to be soldiers. And the story that we're trying to tell here is about a character that is behind that door. Because he's in the middle of the war, most likely that character is afraid. He's hearing noises, bombs, fight, and it's probably dark, and this character probably wants to get out and escape. And because this is a trench in the middle of a war, most likely we're going to have a lot of soldiers shooting and in the middle of the action. So that's basically what we're trying to explore and see how we tell this story, potentially from multiple points of view. So first thing, we just scout this location. So I'm looking here, I have a trench. It's big enough to put some characters. We have this door where we know there is an actor behind it, a character behind the door that wants to escape. So I see I have a space to put a lot of props and soldiers here and there. So there's plenty of space for me to set dress in order to create some drama, right?
Well, so now let's put some characters in there to block it out so we know what we need to record.
Okay, perfect. So we have a really cool tool. It's a plugin that we talked before, the actor palette. So once you open the actor palette, you pick a level that has all your assets that you want to use laid out for you. So as you can see, this is almost like another Unreal Engine scene.
And you can create this level. This is any level that someone can just create themselves with whatever they want.
Yes, this you create a level, and any level that is created on your project, you can open it with the actor palette. Okay. This level we created so is laid out easy just to pick. It's like a catalog, right? So I'm gonna put the actor palette on the side here, and because we're gonna populate it with these soldiers, let's start doing that, like you said. So I'm gonna pick here, I'm gonna pick this soldier, and I'm gonna drop it into this location. So this is in front of the door. This guy is ready to shoot. Let's put another guy, it's the same guy, let's put it here on the side. And what I'm gonna be, I guess what we can do here is just start populating some soldiers just to create some drama, some tension, right? Maybe there is one guy here ready to shoot. You can put it here on the side. This guy might be a little closer. So the goal here is like we are gonna block out.
So you click over here, you drag, and click over there to place them in the world. And it will automatically put things on the ground and roughly follow the collision?
Well, no, it will ignore collisions. So this is purely like hand placing an asset, as you will do with any other assets. Okay. So this is right now is basically laying out your environment. So I'm gonna add a couple of new guys. Let's put this guy here, sitting down.
And you can use props, not just characters.
Oh yes, we can put props. We can put, let's put like much, a machine gun. Let's put this machine gun for the guy, maybe that's gonna be here on this side. So the goal here is let's quickly add as many characters we think is gonna be good enough. I probably need another soldier here. We have this other character aiming here, and let's put it kind of aiming at it. So what we have here is now, if this character comes out, as minute as it comes out, it's gonna see, okay, I cannot go to the left because there is this guy about to shoot me. I cannot go to the right. So maybe he's gonna be brave enough and see if he goes through the middle of the soldiers.
Okay, well this is good because now we know what we need to performance capture, and we can then replace these static characters with our own animations.
Yeah, so maybe what we can do now is like, let's use a VCam just to tell the story from the point of view of the character inside the behind the door. Okay. And that way, with the current layout, with blocking, not adding any light performance, we just go in with the VCam and start seeing if the placement is good.
So get it quickly. Check out our ideas.
Yes.
That sounds great.
And that way, we polish and polish and polish until we start feeling good about it.
Then we only produce the animations for the things that we care about.
Exactly.
We don't start making a bunch of work on things that we're never actually even going to look at.
Exactly.
I
So
like
I think this is a good point for us to grab the VCam and let's see how it looks from the point of view of the character behind the door.
Okay.
Sounds good? Let's do that. So in order to get a VCam working, you know, I already created a VCam actor in my scene. So I have it here my outliner. So the first thing I want to do is we want to enable it. And after I'm enabled, I can go here in my LiveLink VCam app, type my IP address for this machine, and then hit connect. Cool. So now that I have the VCam, I want to use this VCam as the point of view of the character inside the door. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to position myself in a place where I want to be. So I'm going to go inside the door. Let's do this a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to go inside the door. Let me just move. And now, let me rotate myself. I'm using, as you can see, I'm using the joysticks on the iPad just to position myself where I want it. Right now, I'm kind of like inside behind the door, which is a good place. I'm going to freeze it so I can position myself in a different place. So now, I'm going to position here as I am inside behind the door, and I'm going to come out and see how it's going to look like. So let's do a little rehearsal. I'm going to lower this. As you can see, here's the door. The door will open, which we're going to animate, and then as soon as I come out, I'm like, oh my God, there is somebody there. Oh my God, somebody there. I'm not going to go there. Maybe these guys are friendly, and I'm going to move around. As you can see, I was taking too many steps and not really advancing too much. So I'm going to increase the scale. So for increasing the scale, press the lower button here. And then let's do maybe 3 times the scale. Let's see how that goes. Scale down. So here's the door. The door opens. I look to the left. Oh, there's one guy. Look to the right. There's another guy about to shoot me. So maybe we go in between these guys. Okay, that's actually a little better. But Tony, what I'm going to ask you is that because when I come out of this door, I see this character right in front of me. So it's kind of stopping me to go that way. So I'm going to ask Tony to move the character to the back, a little far away, so it's going to be less intimidated, and it's going to make a good excuse for me to get out.
I'm going to disable your VCam. So this guy right here?
Yeah. That guy right there, let's move it a little. Yeah, kind of, yeah, somewhere around there. That's good.
Okay. And then we need the VCam
Turn on the VCam.
actor. Re-enable it.
Yep. Okay. Okay, so let's see where I am. I am behind the door again. So let me position myself. I should have saved a bookmark. Next time I save a bookmark. This is the door. And I'm gonna freeze it again. And now let's rehearse. I'm gonna unfreeze it. Okay, so here's the door. The door is gonna open. I come out, I'm like, okay, there's a character here. Oh no, I'm not gonna go that way. Character here, no way. So let's see, maybe I go through between these guys. Okay, yeah, I think that we can do a take. So Tony, I'm gonna go ahead and do a take with you. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna pause here. I'm gonna create a bookmark, so I don't have to keep coming this way. I create a bookmark with the button. And what I'm gonna ask you, Tony, to do is like, let's animate the door. So when you say go, the door opens, and then I see the door open, and I can actually move ahead with the action.
Okay.
Sounds good?
Yep. Cut. I have that animation already. So what I can do is open the take recorder. I create a new take record. VCam. first person. And open up the pending take. And I can drag this level sequence into here. And what this will do is it will start this level sequence when it takes recording. So as soon as recording happens, the door will open up, and Juan will see that door opening here. And the VCam actor is already in the source take record, so it's going to record that VCam actor into this pending take with the door opening. So we'll go to the beginning. Okay, we'll look at the VCam. There's a VCam.
Is there any settings that you want to set on the?
Yes, there is. So it's often you will have a hierarchy in a VCam that, or any element in your take recorder, and there's a checkbox here to record the parent hierarchy. And if you do that, you're going to record all of the parents that make up the whole hierarchy of the character. But in this case, I only want the end result of that VCam actor. I don't care what the parents were. So by turning that off, I'm going to get the world position just of the VCam, and that's really what I want. Okay, so that's a good thing to do. So okay, we have the VCam set up. We have the name to the take. We are enabling the VCam here.
Got it. So I'm gonna connect now to the Unreal session, and I'm gonna go now to a bookmark that I created before, which is right here inside the door, and I'm gonna check the lensing. Right now I have, Tony, can you hit G so I can get rid of all the extra OS thing? Thank you. So with an 18, right now I have an 80 millimeter lens, which is probably what I'm gonna end up using, but let's see if I use another lens, let's say maybe a 21 millimeter. 21 is good, but I still wanna be able to see a little wider. So I'm gonna definitely go back to my assumed lens, and I'm gonna pick 80 millimeter lens. All right. Okay, this is good. Okay, so Tony, I think I'm ready. Okay. I'm gonna position myself back again. I'm inside the door. So I am the character, and I'm gonna be scared, and I'm gonna try to escape this door, okay?
Okay,
I'm ready.
I'll start the record and tell you when to go.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Ready.
And recording, and 3, 2, 1, action.
Ooh. Oh my God, what's going on? Oh no, I'm not gonna go this. Ooh, another guy here. Maybe here.
Cut.
Okay, so let's review this take. Let's see how it looks.
Click review last recording. All right, and then we can disable the VCam, and we can click on the camera cuts track so we see through the recording. And here, as I scrub, you can see the doors opening up and the camera's coming through. So I can actually hit play. You'll see it in real time. All right, so you got the VCam done from the perspective of our character who is coming out of the door. Yeah. So the next step would be to put some life into our environment characters. So you want to get the suit on, and we'll put some motion capture onto our soldiers?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's go.
Cool.
Okay, hello Juan. I see you are all set up in your motion capture suit. Today we are using an XN suit. We can use, there's others, but this is what we have today. We also have facial capture set up with an iPhone with Live Link Face, which you can get on the Apple App Store. So what we're going to do is we are going to use your motion, and we're going to apply it to these soldiers. And you can see here, wave, make a face. There, that's you right there. So this is streaming in to Unreal. We've got a Gatling gun that you are going to be shooting. So we found a prop here that is roughly close to the position to help you get into pose here. So just, you can see that here. So what you want to do here.
You probably want to reposition me.
So we'll be able to clean up and get your hands exactly attached later. This is just going to get you so you're close. So it's fine. So what you're going to do here is you are going to be pretending to fire the gun. You know, move your hands, move your body, give facial expression.
Got
Okay.
it.
Okay. I'm gonna say action.
Can you move it a little bit? Can you reposition me a little bit?
Sure,
so I
sure.
can be holding better the gun.
Sure, I can do that.
There you go. Yeah, that's gonna help me
To see better. Okay.
see
that's
better
good.
and have a better grab. Push me back. Ah, good. That's gonna help me. Perfect.
Okay. Great. All right. Okay. Ready? And 3, 2, 1. Action. And cut. That's great. Our next officer, you're going to be standing against the wall, leaning forward, and shooting a gun.
Okay.
Okay? At the
Got it.
creature. Okay. So just like we had a prop for you before, I have another prop for you. We had this laying around. This will help you to get an understanding of what the gun and how your position of
Yeah.
your hand should be.
Definitely is gonna help me act better.
Good,
Got
good,
it.
good. Okay.
I'm
Get
gonna
ready.
be kind of like against the wall.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like
good.
trying to take cover.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
lean forward and then aim and shoot. Yep, and come back. Good, good. All right. Ready?
Ready.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Action. Good, good. Okay. And cut. That's great.
Good.
All right, let's get some motion in here. So this officer is not shooting,
Okay.
but he sees the door opening, and he's not going to wait around to see what's behind. So he is going to be afraid, and he's going to run away.
Okay.
Okay?
That's good.
So let's get you to position. The
Got
door
it.
is going to be right here. You see that?
Yeah.
Let me adjust you here.
Okay. It's almost like I'm kind of listening to what's going on, and I know it's gonna open, and I'm gonna start running.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Ready? And 3, 2, 1. Action. Cut. All right, so we did our recordings, and now we want to assemble these motion captures. And what I did was I went back and I found some other footage that we had done so we could fill out these soldiers, okay? And it brings up a great point about the best way to do this. So I'm going to give you a tip that is really important, okay?
Okay.
You have to understand how, when you do a take record, level sequences are recorded. You'll see in the take record the level sequence file, and you load it up, and you can see here there's a track. Well, this track inside of it is nested another animation track. If I click on this animation, it actually lives inside of a folder in that directory.
Yeah.
So if you just go back and you find a level sequence and you copy it into a new location, you're not copying the nested referenced animation. So you could actually start making changes and breaking other animations that are looking at that animation. So
Yes.
what you need to do is do what's called an advanced copy, okay? So in the content browser, I can take any level sequence that I recorded, and when you click and drag, you can either do a move, a copy, or the advanced copy, okay? You always want to do the advanced copy to protect your data. So when you click that, you're going to get some options. And here you can see this is the name of the level sequence, but there's also the subdirectory and the animation inside, okay? And you will see here also usually the name of the blueprint. You don't need to copy the blueprint because you're fine referencing that,
Yeah.
okay? So you just
We
want
only
to
want to copy the animations.
animation, yes, and then the directory.
Directory,
Yes. And so here, in this case, we have a take number. This is 04B here. So you can do a search and replace. So anywhere in any of the animations that say 04B, I can replace it with 04C, right? And it's going to make a copy
Okay.
of the level sequence. It's going to make a copy of the directory underneath it. It's going to make a copy of the animations in the directory, and it's going to repoint that animation into the main level sequence. So all your data from before is protected, and you can modify, do whatever you want to this new data, and you're free to make changes and not break something that you may have already done.
Exactly, that makes sense.
Yeah, so we say okay. Takes a minute. So the next step is to create disassembly of all of our shots.
Yeah.
But in the past, I have found working with clips and takes from other locations, I can kind of get lost, and you can only have one sequencer up at the same time. And I remember you talking about collections as a way to help this.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about what those are?
Yes, for sure. So when we do performance capture, most likely you do performance capture in different days. So you end up a bunch of folders with dates like we have here, and it's difficult just to kind of remember where you save them, or if you're putting together a level sequence, you have to click on a folder and then go back. So the way to do that I use is we create a collection. You click the plus collection, and this will give you three options. Share collection, which is basically a collection that will be part of your source control that everybody in your team will see. So when you sync Perforce, you will see it. It's a good option for working with teams. You can have private collection, which is only going to be seen by the user that created that collection, and it will be on Perforce. And then the local collection is something that is only going to be on the local machine. It will not be in Perforce.
Okay. Well, we can do a local connection.
Yeah, let's do a local collection in this case.
So you name it.
If you will be working in a team, I would recommend doing shared
A shared
collection.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we have this collection, but it's empty.
Uh-huh.
So
Let's start adding things. You can add anything. You can add
Okay.
level sequence, a blueprint, levels. Collection is just basically a container.
gotcha. So I can right click and the object can be in more than one collection.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. One asset can be in multiple collections.
Great. So I can group select here, right click, and then manage collection, UEFest. So I see it's adding them.
Yeah.
And then we also want to go to the cinematics. We wanted to create a new assembly, right? So we're going to create
Yeah.
a brand new sequence, a cinematic level sequence called as UEFest main. And then I can add this to the collection.
Yep.
Now when I look at the collection, I'm seeing my main level sequence and
Yeah.
all the pieces that can go into it. And then I can just add and remove whatever I want over time.
Yeah.
So this is going to make it a lot easier now for me to maintain all these different sources.
Correct.
All right, let's build this thing. So I've loaded up our blocked out characters that we had from before we placed, and I have our new level sequence that's empty, and I'm going to start dragging in our VCam and our motion capture characters to build the scene and replace the blocked out static characters.
Correct.
So first I want to bring the VCam. I'm going to drag this VCam into the level, right? But I don't see anything. So that's because we don't have a camera cut track. So camera cut track is something we will use to choose which cameras can be that we're viewing when we scrub. And in this case, we can click on the camera, we can go into the subsequence and find the VCam actor. And then whatever frame you do it on, it's going to start there, so we want to drag it back to the beginning. So now if we click this, we should see the door opening, yep, and we see your camera motion.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, oh, look, it's too short here, so we need to extend the length.
Yeah, because by default, I guess this is the default sequence that gets created by default is somewhere around 130 frames.
So now we've got a little more range there. Okay.
And I think it's worth to mention that the reason why we see in the animation of the door is because the animation of the door is part of the VCam first-person made sub-level sequence, which this sub-level sequence contains the VCam and the animation of the door.
Right. Yes, because when we recorded the VCam, we added that to the level sequence that included the door. So it kept those two together. So
Yeah.
we're keeping those as one piece because we want those animations to not drift relative to each other.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now we've got this. Now we can go to our collection and we can drop in. We'll just start at the top here. Okay. This is, okay, and that, we probably want to uncollect the camera track. Now we can scrub through and not be attached.
Change the one that is shooting.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
There's your shooting. Okay.
Look at that amazing performance.
Yes. Okay. Let's bring the next one in. Okay. Now, notice wherever the camera timeline happens to be, that is where the thing gets dropped in. So it's good to keep in mind as you're dropping things in. There's the scared runner guy. So we go to the intro. We stay at 0, 0. That way when we drop them in, they'll all start at 0, 0, 0. Okay. So we have another scared officer. This is
This is the one against the wall.
against
This is
the
something that
wall.
we did
Yes.
and behind cameras.
Yes. And then officer shooting in the background. Back here, let's see. Yeah, this is back here.
That's another one
Okay.
that we did another day.
Yes. Let's open this up here. And grab officer sitting. Here he is over here.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got officer shooting the Gatling gun. Yep.
So maybe we can hide the blocking that we played
Yeah.
before so we don't get.
Let's see. And then, okay, yeah, so let's do that. Let's find the guys that are not moving. So this guy here, we're going to hide him. This guy, we're going to hide him.
Yeah, because originally we added those just to kind of block.
Right.
Now that we have the animation, we're replacing them. We don't no longer need it. Okay.
Okay. So let's activate the VCam.
Let's see how it looks through
See
that
how it
VCam.
looks. Well, I think this is good. Looking over this take. Later, I'm going to go in and talk about how we can like put guns in the hands and how we could tighten up some of the animation and make some fixes. But I think for as far as telling the side of the story, I think it's very good.
Yeah, I mean, we could do another VCam that is more tailored to this performance capture because the previous one was for the blocking. But I don't think that we should spend too much time on this version of the story. I'd rather us to explore more. And then once we find something that has a lot of potential, then that's the version of the story that we start polishing.
Sounds good. So now we're going to tell the story from another perspective, the perspective of the soldiers outside the door. So you are going to be the character inside the door. The door is going to open up.
Okay.
You're going to step out. You're going to see all these soldiers shooting at you. You're going to be afraid, and you're going to walk and try to get out of there, okay?
Sounds good.
All right.
Let's do it.
Position. Closing the door. And 3, 2, 1, action. And cut. Yeah, go.
That's good. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think our mocap is complete. Now we just have to put the pieces together.
Okay. So I'm going to go back and change.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye. Welcome back. Let's put your alien into the sequence and check it out.
Yeah. That amazing alien.
That was amazing, yes. So here, let's watch it. Well, now we know why your reaction from the soldiers was so strong. That's
Yeah.
pretty scary.
That's why they were shooting at me.
Yes. I want to mention this creature is actually downloadable on the marketplace. It was made by Aaron Sims Creative, and it's actually the same creator that did the character for the Demogorgon for Stranger Things. So if anybody wants to use this for their productions, feel free to check it out at the marketplace.
Fully rigged.
Fully rigged, yes.
Cool. Okay, so we see that the story changes, right?
Right.
So I think now for us to tell the story from the point of view of the soldiers, let's just grab a VCam and then start shooting from some of those soldiers' point of view.
Sounds great.
Okay, let me go and grab an iPad.
So now we're going to record the VCam from the other's perspective. You should probably start with a wide shot.
Yeah.
So what we want to do here, just like we did when we recorded the VCam for the creature, we put the door animation into the pending take so that it was synchronized with the motion of the recording of the VCam. So here we want to synchronize the VCam with the whole edit that we have so far, right?
Makes sense.
So we need to find the UEFS main. We need to drop that into
The pending take.
pending take. So now it's in the pending take, and what we can do, we can connect your VCam,
Okay.
and then you now have control of that pending take, and you can preview and find out where you want to put yourself.
Perfect. I'm gonna do it from here. I saved a bookmark, so let's go to the bookmark I have saved. This is the door bookmark. This is this bookmark, white lens, and let me review this animation, this sequence so far, so I can see if this is the correct framing. Let me play it. I see it, alien comes out, soldier is coming there, and oh, what happened, Tony? It's short.
Okay, this is something that happens quite a bit, and I can tell you how to fix it. By default, the duration of a level sequence is only 5 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, and that every time you create a new level sequence, every time you create a new pending take, it by default is only 5 seconds, right?
Okay.
So in the project settings, you can search for duration, and you'll see in their editor level sequences, the default duration here is 5 seconds. So let's increase that to something like 60 seconds.
Yeah.
And what that means now is that every new level sequence and every pending take, you'll have more time before it resets. Right?
Okay,
So this
sounds
is
good.
something that most people run into, and this is a good idea to fix it here, and then it won't ever happen again.
In the project settings.
Yeah.
Got it.
See, okay, so now
Okay.
we change that project setting. So now I need to delete the clear the pending take,
Okay.
and then re-drag in the UEFS main. Okay, now you should be able to control the sequence and see everything.
Okay, good. So I'm going back to my bookmark. This is good. So I see I have a 60 millimeter lens, and I'm gonna scrub here this sequence so I can see if it's good enough. Yeah, this is good. I'm gonna move back a little bit so I can see the guy on the trench. I think this is good. I like this framing with the wheel. Okay, so let's do a take record.
Okay, once again, I turned off record parent hierarchy for the VCam because we don't want the parent hierarchy. So our settings are good, and we're going to record here. Ready?
Ready?
Okay, and hitting the button. 3, 2, 1, action.
Okay, cut.
And cut. Okay, let's check it out.
Good.
Review last recording.
Let me get out of.
Turn off the VCam. Look through the camera cut track. Okay, so here we've got 2 camera cut tracks.
Yes.
So it's fighting. We're not being able to see the old VCam.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So looks like the thing to do
This
here.
is shots and this is camera cut.
Camera cuts, right.
I think it's because we have a camera
We need
cut
to go into
inside.
shots here and get rid of this camera cuts track. Okay, now, there we go. Now we can see it. So it seems like it doesn't like to have 2 camera cuts tracks. They will fight with each other.
Yes.
So you really want to keep in mind that if it's acting strange and you're not seeing the camera, look for an extra camera cuts track because they will. It's the kind of problem that's not easily spotted, right?
Yes. Okay, so this was a good wide angle establishing shot just to show the viewers where we are and who is in front of the camera. So this is a good angle. And this is an angle that we're probably going to use for a short few seconds. And then we might cut to something else. So maybe we cut to the point of view of the guy that is like next to the reverse angle,
Okay.
right?
So
then I can actually position myself, like the VCam, as the point of view of the guy next to the door against the wall, kind of scare.
okay.
Sounds good.
Change the slate name. So you are connected, the VCam.
Okay. Okay, so let's find that guy. I see him over there. So I'm gonna position myself as him. Good. And now let me rotate.
And while you're doing this, I can actually still scrub here.
Yeah, scrub so I can see the action. Okay, I see the creature coming out. So I'm like, oh my God, I see that. That's good. I'm gonna change lens. This is too wide. I'm gonna change it to, let's pick one of these prime lenses I have here, 21. This is good, or what about 35? 35. 35 is good, and I'm gonna change the distance, the focus distance, so the creature is in focus. So I'm scrubbing. You see the distance is in meters. So right now 100 meters, so I'm gonna scrub to be a few meters away. Now the creature is coming in frame, which is good. And if I go and point that way, the rest is out of focus. I think this is good. Let's see how close I am to the guy. Yeah, I am where the guy is. Okay, maybe a little high. So I'm gonna lower myself. And now this is the point of view of the guy. Okay, okay, good. Okay, this is good. So let's rewind and let's do a take.
Okay.
Ready?
Record and 3, 2, 1, action. And cut.
Good.
Great.
Should we review that?
Sure. Review last recording. So this is a copy of that take. So we're going to need to do the same thing here, and we need to activate the camera cut track. Here we go. Okay, that was good.
Okay. So maybe we do the point of view of another soldier?
Yeah, let's take some side angles and.
Okay, there is a soldier that is kind of like on the floor, kind of like scared, maybe from that point of view.
Sure.
Okay. So I think what we want to do is do a lot of coverage.
Yes.
You know, show the story from different point of view, from each soldier. And then when we assemble the edit, we're going to be cutting in between, and then we just start playing with the edit just to see how it looks the best to tell this story.
What do you want to name this?
Let's put it a guy on floor or soldier on floor. Cool.
And good naming conventions for slates is important, right? Because later on when you're looking at a bunch of takes, it's helpful to have a name that makes some sense.
We also can put a description here. So you can type here, it's like soldier on floor looking up. Let's do looking up so we know it's the guy looking up.
I think you're not looking up for him though.
No, I'm gonna be looking through his eyes. But this time I think I'm gonna place the camera next to him. So it's not from the point of view of him, but it's kind of like a over the shoulder type of thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That's,
Okay, so I'll enable the VCam.
Let's enable the VCam. Okay, let me find that guy. Okay, I see. The guy is right here, so I'm gonna go next to him. Now he's looking. He's here. So I'm gonna be kind of like this is the position I want, something like this. I'm gonna freeze it because I'm uncomfortable. And now, let me resume that. Okay, this is good. And I'm gonna do a little open. I'm gonna go back to the zoom lens that I have. And this zoom lens, let's do maybe at 24 frames per 24. And can you scrub the animation so I can see the soldier, the creature when it's close to us? Just want to get kind of like that view. Okay, keep scrubbing, keep going forward. Okay, so I'm gonna do, yeah, I think this is good. Let's do a take.
Yep. Go back to 0. Okay, ready?
Ready?
Recording and 3, 2, 1. Action. And cut.
Cool. Okay, so we have pretty good coverage. We have wide, we have reverse, we have from the low, from the side. So maybe now let's assemble and edit and see how things are looking.
Yeah. So we have our VCam shoot. Let's assemble it.
Yeah,
Wanna check this out?
let's check it out. So that's nice. And I think we can probably do like right before he just then that's probably a cut where we do a reverse.
Okay. So basically what you do is on your camera cuts track, you can click on camera, and then this will show all of the cameras that are in all of the sub-levels for this edit. So even if they're nested down below, you can get to them from here, which is nice. So we're gonna look for the reverse. We can choose this. Now we can play.
Yeah.
Let's see it. And if we needed to adjust it, we can just adjust the timing, and it will change when the edit happens.
Cool. So I think it would be good to do like somewhere right here. Then we go back into wide. But maybe this time we go to a wide that we did right behind the guy, the one that's shooting. That one. Yeah, this one. So we just go back to here. That's nice. And I think it would be good to get some, like, let's see from the point of view of the guy that is sitting on the floor. That's cool. So we see it from the guy from sitting on the floor. And then we might go back to the wide again that we were, just to pick up.
Sure.
Yeah, that's good. So let's see how it flows from the beginning. Let's see. So start going, nice. Back, that's good. Front, back. Okay. I think we can keep polishing. I think we can keep adding, but this is working really well. Yeah, I like that, going back to the soldier sitting down. And then we just finish it up with going back to the wide. Maybe they will, yeah. And then he's coming to it. Yeah, let's play this whole thing, how it's working out. This one we might adjust the focus distance in a little bit. Nice.
You know what this needs? The sound.
You need sound, yeah. And we also need to put some guns.
Some effects, right.
And effects.
I think,
and some lights.
I think there's a good foundation that we can build on.
So let's polish. Let's start building. Sounds good, man.
Let's talk about mocap cleanup using control rig. So here we have our animation of the character, but the motion capture of the hands did not line up with the gun. We gave one a prop to get them close, but it's not perfect. So this is where we can use control rig and we can clean this up and make this perfect. So if you look at a control rig for the MetaHuman, you'll notice there is a forward solve, which is where the animation typically happens. You move the controls and the bones get moved. There's a construction script that happens once that just puts all the bones into place when the character is initialized for different size metahumans. And there's this backward solve. And this backward solve runs once when you request it to go through all the positions of the bones and put those animations on the controls so that you can modify them, right? And if you were to go to a body skeletal mesh and you right click, you will see here bake to control rig. So any control rig that has a backward solve will show up in this list. Right now we only have this one right here. So we'll accept the defaults, and now what you'll see after it processes is the controls will be there, the animation will still be there, but now we can actually modify that animation. So here you see the hands, the body's moving, right? If we go to the first frame here, we can select these hands and just delete all the keyframes because we don't want these keyframes to move at all. Don't worry about his head, it'll come back. The head is a different skeleton, so it's not being affected by this here. So, okay, so now we notice the hands are stationary, but it's IK, so they're still connected and the elbows move, but this allows us to place these hands wherever we want. So let's go here and do that. Let's adjust the hands so that they are better lined up with this handle here. So we can rotate them, move them. Let's get them close, it's good. And same with this hand, we can just move it. I'm using the local space to move it around along its own axis. Makes it a little easier to line up. Okay, so now that's great. But how do we keep them with the gun if the gun moves? Because it's going to be firing bullets. So here we can select the control and we can do in the animation mode a constraint. And there are a couple of different kinds of constraints. Here we want a parent constraint. And a parent constraint will basically parent this child to this gun. We could probably do a translation constraint as well because the gun's just moving, it's not rotating, but it's usually what you want is a parent constraint because it'll basically inherit all the transforms of the gun. So we select the constraint, click on parent, and we click on the gun. And let's do this on the other side. We select the constraint, or the control, we choose parent constraint, and click on the gun. Now, if we move the gun, you'll see the hands move with it. So we can animate this gun doing whatever we want. I mean, you know, here you can see we could lower it, raise it. We could rotate it if we wanted to, right? And so this is a great way to not worry so much about the animation because you know that you can adjust it and make it better very easily in control rig afterwards. The mocap cleanup on the other soldier was a little bit different because he's holding the gun and it's moving with him, right? So we had to do a few other steps. Here you can see I've already done the bake control rig, backward solve. So all of the animation is on the controls. And in the level sequence, I have added a point light for the rifle. We can animate to show it shooting, the flashing, but also the rifle itself has been added in there. And this can then be constrained to the body. So it was constrained to the chest so that it would move along with the body. And then those channels were baked out to keys. Here you can see the keyframes. And what we did was just adjusted where the gun was aiming. Here are some additive curves. So I could rotate the gun to be when it comes down, when it comes back. You can see there's keys on there to adjust it. And because the hands are constrained to the gun, just like in the last clip, if I take this gun and I animate it, the hands follow. So I just had to get the gun following a decent trajectory. Then I could adjust those animations, and then I could parent the hands back to the gun. And then put some effects on there, and they're all in one level sequence, and they're spawned. So I could bring this character into any level, and I could spawn it, and it would get the character, it would get the light that spawned, and it would get the gun, and that is constrained. So that's a little more complicated setup, because here the motion of the gun is a bit more involved than the Gatling gun, but it's basically the same thing. And it's the other difference is that this is spawned with the character and it constrained. Another interesting thing you can do with Control Rig when it comes to fixing the motion capture is, unlike the last example where we did a bake to every single control for the whole character, you can just add specific controls. I knew that when I looked at this animation, I wanted to adjust the height of the hands. The arms went up not high enough or too far forward, or they clipped through the knees. And I knew I wanted to be able to fix that easily, but I didn't want to have to do with all the other animation, right? I also knew that I didn't have the ability to motion capture his face because he does not have a human face, and we didn't have gloves, so I was not able to motion capture the gloves, but I still wanted to put some animation on there to bring this character to life, right? So what I did is I created a control rig that is actually very simple. There's not much there. This is the whole thing. And what it does is a couple things. I put controls right on the arms. So here you can see here on the rig hierarchy, there are upper arm left controls and right controls, and what those do is they are inherited, just parented right into the geometry, into the skeleton, and then they rotate, and they just add rotations onto the bone. So they just take whatever animation is there, and they can just additively increase it or decrease it, right? And that is great, because if you just wanted to fix arms pushing through something, you can just go in and you see here they are here, upper arm control. I just get the control for the upper arms and I set the bone, right? It's just 2 nodes, right? And so it's really easy to just layer that on your motion capture and make some small changes. I also took this rigging of the character and I gave it some teeth controls here. So this one control pulls all of the lips, mouth in and out from one control. And I did the same thing for the fingers. So here these are the functions that just take the value and do all the bones on the chain. And same with the fingers here. One control can control all the fingers. Okay, so now, and same with this hand here. One control controls all the fingers. So then in the animation, in the level sequence, I can go in and if I say, in this angle here, the arm needs to just rotate out a little bit, I can just rotate it out and set a key on the rotation. And then it adjusts it, right? And if I wanted to add some facial animation, I can just adjust this control, and it's only going to affect the bones that I want to affect. And in control rig, any joints that you don't set up, the animation just goes right through. So it doesn't actually break anything here. And same thing with the hands. I can go to a spot where I want the hands to do something. I can set a key here. It's just one channel. I can go to next frame, region. And so it's very easy to fix angles of joints that I don't like, and also to add animations, parts that I can't easily motion capture, right? So it's all part of the process of making sure that you spend your time getting your ideas out. Don't worry so much about the little details of your motion, because you have lots of options later for you to clean that stuff off. Once you realize, oh yeah, this is good, I like this, I just need to do some small adjustment. So I think those are good tips to remember.
Thanks, Tony, for explaining how we can clean up mocap and pairing guns to the moving soldiers. So now let's continue exploring this story. One way we can develop the characters and add mood to the story is by using audio. You can see here, without audio, this edit is not that fun. So I went ahead and downloaded from the Unreal Engine Marketplace some gun sound effects. Let's start adding some and hear how everything comes to life. So let's see, here we have weapons, lots of them. So I'm looking for a gun for that guy who's shooting a rifle. So let's look rifle, and let's go back and pause. So the first time he shoots is around here, and it looks like he's shooting twice that time. So I'm gonna look for a rifle with a double sound. So double. Let's see, we have this. Sounds kind of cool. Cool. Okay, I like this one. So let's copy this name. Let's go back to my edit. So let's go back to what I wanted. So somewhere on here, he's about to shoot. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add an audio track. I'm gonna add the audio track, and inside this audio track, I wanna play that audio file that I picked. This one is the stereo. This is the mono. This is the stereo. So let's pick that guy. Let's hear how it sounds. Okay, that's nice. Okay, this is another good one. So next sound I'm gonna add is, after we do the cut, I see the alien is reacting as he's being shot. And I see this guy here, this soldier, kind of making this happy face or scary face of him shooting the creature, the alien. Okay, so now somewhere on here, the first time, right before the start, like, oh yeah, when he gets hit, let's add another audio track. I can do it two ways. One way, I can add an audio track here, and it basically creates a completely new audio track, and I can add it as any audio I want. Or I can also add more audios inside this audio track that I created. So for example, this one, I'm gonna call it audio gun sound effects, okay? And then in here, I'm gonna add another audio. This time I'm gonna pick a machine gun. So here I see minigun, and let's see minigun. Let's see, this is reload. Let's see, this is burst. This is only one. Let's do a burst. Okay, that's actually kind of cool. So let's do this one. Let's grab it. I'm gonna go back to my level sequence. And here inside the audio track group that I'm calling audio gun sound effects, I'm gonna add that track. Once again, I'm gonna pick the stereo. So as you can see now, I have, it's almost like a group of audio that I'm calling audio gun sound effects. So this one, let's see how that goes. This other one that I created, I can delete it because I don't need anything there. And let's play again. See how this is working. Okay, that's good. Okay, another one that I can add is this guy. As you can see, he's leaning forward and shooting. So somewhere on here, let's see, maybe he did it before. Yeah, somewhere on here, let's add another one of, let's add like a rifle burst, right? So let's go again, audio track, let's pick a burst, and let's see how that goes. That's too many. Maybe what I can do is like I trim it. So he goes dun dun dun, and before when he's done, I'm gonna slide this, and I'm gonna also slide this. So I'm gonna start, because he seems to be start shooting somewhere on here. So let me start sound here. Let's see how that sounds. Okay, that's working. That's working much better. So I'm gonna pause the video right now, and I'm gonna add a bunch of sounds, and then I will be right back. Let's listen to what I have done so far. Okay, not bad, but it really is missing the sound effects for the alien. So I went ahead and recorded myself acting like the alien, just making the sounds of the alien. And after I did that, I took it to Premiere and applied some filters just to make it sound less human, just to make it sound actually cooler. So let's add the sound effects I created. So as I mentioned to you before, I have this whole complete audio track for my sound effects for the gun. So let's add another audio track, and this time I'm gonna call it audio alien sound effects. Cool. And at the beginning of the edit, I'm gonna add this alien screaming, this one that I did. So let's see how that goes. I'm gonna actually, let's see. Okay. One thing that one of the reasons what I like to create audio track groups is because I can quickly mute it. So right now I'm just gonna sync the sound effects for the alien to the action. So I'm gonna go ahead and in the audio gun sound effects group, I'm gonna mute it so I don't get distracted by all the sound effects of the guns. And I see somewhere on here is the first time I scream. So this is what I'm gonna slide my audio track here. Let's play this, how it goes. Okay. That sounds like an alien screaming. Okay, that's cool. That's pretty cool. Let's now play with the guns, sound effects of the guns. See how everything's coming along. Okay, cool. That's enough. That's pretty cool. But I want to keep exploring. I want to keep exploring the alien, you know, because maybe the alien is not a bad alien. Maybe this is an alien that is a friendly alien, and he happens to want to get out of that bunker door, and these guys, just because he looks scary, they start shooting. So let's add a different alien sound effects, right? So I'm gonna mute the one that I recorded myself, and I'm also gonna mute the guns. So let's create a new audio track, and in this audio track, let's call it audio alien option 2 sound effects. Okay, and in here, let's go ahead and add another audio track that I have, and let's see how that plays. Somewhere around here, I'm gonna also sync it. So the first time it plays here. Let's see if this is actually gonna work.
Stop, please. Stop. Can you move out?
Okay.
Out.
Okay, so obviously this is not as scary as the previous version, so it makes the alien be more friendly. And let's turn on the gun sound effects, and maybe when it says here, I think this is what it says, screams. Let me mute this again. Yeah, this is good. So now let's see how everything plays together with the sound effects.
Stop, please. Stop. Can you move out? Out. Stop.
Anyway, this is just to show you, like, sometimes you need to explore with sound also, just to give a mood and develop the character. But yeah, never mind. That was just a test. Let's turn off that again, and let's carry on with the scary sound effects, right? So now everything is playing along good, but it feels that we're missing an overall ambient sound, right? So I went ahead and I grabbed a cool combination of sound effects, and I just put it together, as you can see here. And I'm just gonna, this is the ambient that I added. So we have the gun effects, the alien effects, and now the ambient. And once we put all this together, things start feeling much better. Cool, so that's actually now sounding like a good, interesting movie, right? But that's as far as I'm gonna take it with sound. Another thing that I can do in order to help tell the story is with lights and effects. So for example, I wanna start adding, every time there is a gunshot, I will add some lights, some kind of muzzle flashes. And then after that, we're going to explore with the entire mood of the environment and see if with different lighting scenarios, it gives us different mood, and it can help us tell the story, either give it more drama or give it more light in order so you can see better what's going on. So let's go ahead and let's start adding lights. I'm going to start adding a light to this soldier. So when he shots, we're going to animate the point light. If you guys remember, Tony showed us how he parented this light to the gun, right? So he did that in the level sequence. So let's go inside that level sequence. And I can see here, he basically parented the point light, right? So let's keyframe it. Traditional keyframe. So somewhere around here, when he first shoots, let's go frames like this one. We're gonna, first we set a keyframe to 0, and then one frame after, we increase the intensity to, let's say, a 10. Boom, so that's on. And then 2 or 3 frames later, we turn it off again. Off, right? So this is how you can manually add keyframes and then match your sound effects. Let's actually look at this again. Match the sound effects with the light effects. So here we have the light on, and then somewhere around here we have the other sound wave of the gunshot. So let's listen. Okay, so at the second one, I'm gonna create it around frame 101. So let's go back again to that level sequence and keyframe. Again, here we do intensity 0, and then next frame, intensity 10, and then 2 or 3 frames later, we just decrease intensity, right? It's pretty straightforward, and if we play it, now we sync the light effects with the sound effects, right? And that's how you will basically do every time it shoots. For example, I added some other ones around here, you know, he's shooting, and same technique I use for keyframing by hand anytime I have a sound effects, right? That's pretty straightforward. But I want to show you a different way how you can procedurally generate the effects of a muzzle flash. So we know, let's go look through the sequence. We know, let's take a look. We know at one point in here, you know, this guy first starts shooting, we did that one, and then somewhere around here, the creature is screaming, and we did, in fact, added all these sound effects for the minigun, right? So what I want to do is like basically do the light effect of the gun. And I can do it by hand, again, setting keyframes for every single beat, but that's a lot of manual work. And if you somehow later on need to make adjustments, you're pretty much gonna have to redo the work. So how we're gonna approach this is by creating a material light function that allows me to procedurally generate values, random values, right? So let's take a look at that. So in this case, I'm gonna create, I already created, but I'm just gonna go over how we did it. So I will create a material that is called machine gun effects, right? So this is a material, and the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn it into material domain to a light function. This is basically the kind of material that you need in order to put in a light. So what we want to do is like get values like bright enough, on and off, right? In order to do that, we can actually use noise. A noise will create basically a values, and we, you know, like random values like we can see here. So we're gonna create this, control the speed, you know, and the way how we control the speed is by time. So I have time, and I probably wanna, time is a constant value. This is the time of the keyframes. So I wanna control speed up or slow down. So let's do a multiply, and we're gonna multiply time by a constant number, a parameter. So I'm gonna convert this to a parameter, and I'm gonna do a speed mult. By default, it's gonna be, let's put 1, and who knows, we change these values later on. Let's do 100. So this is gonna be multiplying the speed, and that's gonna be our position, right? So as you can see, it's doing on and off, on and off. And if I increase this value to 10, that on and off is gonna be more faster. And then we're gonna create another parameter that is gonna be filter width. That is gonna basically help us to control the amplitude of the noise, right? So this is like the minimal setup that you have to do here. I'm gonna go back to the content browser, right click in the material, create a material instance. We're gonna call this MI machine gun effects, right? Now let's create a point light, and let's parent that point light to the machine gun. I'm gonna name this point light MG machine gun, and I know this guy is called something MG. So as you can see, so I'm gonna parent this guy under. Then I'm gonna zero the transformations, so it's close to where the machine gun is. And the reason why I'm parenting the point light is in case we need to move the animation, or the gun moves, or we need to reposition this, it just moves with it, and we don't have to do this every time. So the placement, let's put it somewhere around here. This is kind of like a good placement for the light. And here, as you can see, this light is constant, has a constant value. So let's add into the light function material, let's add the material instance that we created, the material instance machine gun effects. So you can see now, we see the flickering on and off really fast. That's why we create a material instance that helps us edit those parameters and get a visual representation here real time. So the speed, as you can see, if I go to 1, it's really slow. Obviously 0.2 is even slower, but let's do something like 10 or maybe 100. That's good. It's kind of good flickering. And the filter width allows us to adjust also kind of like the amplitude. So this is kind of like a nice okay. This is good for now. So let's save this. And now let's move on into adjusting the speed of those lights. Right now it's constant, always on and on. Also the color is white at this moment. So let's actually apply a color to this light, something like more like fire. That's good. So now we have non-stop firing gun. And what we want to do now is we're going to animate the intensity, because if I've set this to 0, it's completely off, right? And we have some cool sound effects around here for the machine gun. Let's take a look through the camera just to really see when we need to animate this. So as you can see, this is where we cut into the creature shooting, into the creature being shot. So somewhere around here, and also let's look at where we keyframe the animation. Somewhere around here, that's when we start shooting or hearing the sounds. So let's go 1 frame forward, and here is where I'm gonna keyframe the gun, set of keyframe 0. Once I set the keyframe, it automatically adds this point light into my level sequence, and here's 0, and then 1 frame forward, we turn it on. Let's do this. Let's do 20. Boom. So now it's on, and then if we keep playing, that's the sound ends somewhere around there. So let's go back and look at the sound wave, and somewhere around here is the last shot. So let's set another keyframe, do 20, and then 2 or 3 frames after, 1, 2, 3, we keyframe to 0, right? So as we see here, I just added those keyframes, and let's play and see how it works. Cool. So you saw, I mean, it might be the yellow. I might need to adjust the color. It's a little too desaturated. So I'm just gonna saturate this a little bit more, and that's kind of working well. Cool. So that's basically how I'm adding all these light effects. I did a lot of keyframes for the other guns. I did I keyframe in a lot of places, and this is working well. Let's take a look.
So I keep going, I can keep adding keyframes to the lights, no problem. So this is good. I have the sound effects, I have the light effects. Now let's explore the mood of the entire scene, because right now this is kind of like an overcast day. Let's explore how does it feel if we tell this story at night. Before I start changing the overall lighting on this environment, I want to store the state of the scene right now. And in order to do that, we actually have a plugin that is called Level Snapshots. This is a plugin that it will be turned on by default if you start from the virtual production template. This Level Snapshot, if you want to take a snapshot of the current state of the scene, you press this button right here. It pops up this window. You give it a name. In this case, I'm gonna call it default lighting, and I create a level snapshot. So this is recording how this scene is at this moment. And then if I make changes and I want to go back, I can restore the level snapshot. Okay. In order for me to change the lighting on this environment, for this scene, we're using a really cool blueprint that's called Ultra Dynamic Sky. This is something that you can download, you can buy at the marketplace, Unreal Engine Marketplace, and it's really nice blueprint because it gives you a lot of functionality of like clouds, sky, the sun, the moon. So right now I'm gonna show you the power of it. So first of all, let's go back to something like this. And I'm gonna reduce the fog here. I wanna see more, and let's get out of this. So I'm gonna go in and reduce the fog density. So now we see clouds. I'm gonna change this from 16 hours, which is roughly 4 p.m. to 22 hours, which is 10 p.m. So this is a night, which is nice. As you can see, the overall exposure is really dark. So let's actually adjust the post-process volume for the scene, and I'm gonna change the exposure, and let's do 3 times brighter, just so this we can see, actually 2, just so we can see a little bit more in the sky. We go back to the Ultra Sky Dynamic, and now I don't want to see the clouds. I'm gonna remove the clouds because I want to see the stars. It would be kind of nice to see the stars. So we go into cloud coverage. I'm gonna set it to 0, so no clouds right now. The overall intensity of is really still really dark. Let's say if we the overall intensity, let's see, it's 0, the stars are really dark, 10 super bright. So let's do somewhere in between. Let's do a little bit of stars. Intensity 2 is kind of nice. Let's see, maybe saturation, a little bit more saturation. We can see that kind of nice blue. I'm gonna close this so we can see more. Let's see what else is good. It would be kind of cool to see the moon. I know the moon is right there, right? It would be kind of cool to see the moon somewhere around here, especially in a shot like the one that we saw, the alien. Let's take a look. Like a shot like this, it would be kind of nice to see the moon here in the back, right? So let's actually go back into Ultra Sky Dynamic, and let's change the moon inclination and the moon angle. Let's zoom out. So where is the moon? Moon inclination. Let's type this. I know the numbers. 68, just to lower. And now the moon angle, I need to put it on the other side because I want it here. So moon angle, I know the values that I want. Moon angle here, -85, right? So that's kind of puts the moon right there, which is nice. I want a little bigger, just to make it more moody. Let's do 2 times, And maybe I don't want a full moon because this start looking like a werewolf movie. So maybe I'm just gonna change the face of the moon. Let's pick a face 9, tiny little moon, that's good. And once again, let's adjust the post-process because it's getting too dark here. Post-process, volume, I'm gonna go with exposure, let's do 4. At least we see more, yeah, more of, we can adjust this in a second. And one thing that I wanna give, let's actually go 3. And I wanna make that moon not so blue. Let's make it a little bit warmish. Let's warm it a little bit. Somewhere around there. This didn't take it. Okay, that's feeling pretty good. So now let's rewind and let's watch it. Like for example, right now you might say, I don't see the exposure that we adjust, 0 or 10, it doesn't make anything. And the reason why we don't see the exposure is because I know this camera here is actually, it's inside VCam test 01. This is the one of the VCam that we recorded the first time. I know inside this VCam actor, it has exposure set to, search exposure compensation. It's overriding, so it's overriding whatever exposure compensation that is in the post-process volume. So I'm gonna uncheck it. So as you can see now, it got super bright, and then I can go back to the post-process, and then let's dial this down. Let's say 2. Okay, so now if I'm gonna play this, it's kind of cool. This is one look. Okay, for now, I'm kind of happy with this look, but I still want to explore. So let's use again the level snapshot, and I'm gonna click in here, and I'm gonna call this Moonlight. I'm gonna create level. Okay. Let's restore the default lighting. So I'm gonna go open level snapshot editor, and here we have the one I created, trench default lighting, and automatically it's telling me the difference between this level when you created this snapshot to the current level as it is right now. The only difference is like there is 2 actors being modified, which is the post-process volume and the ultra dynamic sky. And we know these are all the settings that I changed. So I say, okay, let's restore, and I hit restore, and boom, it takes me now to the default lighting, right? This lighting is kind of like good. I kind of like it just to tell the story because you can see a lot of the action, right? I might just adjust a few little things, maybe let's say the sunlight density, sunlight intensity. Right now we have 4, let's see, doesn't, a little bit darker. No, I think 3 is good. Then I want to do is probably adjust the fog density just to make it more moody. So let's try something like 0.2. Give it more fog, it makes a little more moody. Exposure, let's see how is the exposure of my scene. This post-process volume. Exposure is set to 1, which is good. Perfect. Maybe let's leave it 1. No, let's go actually 0. It's a good exposure. And I can start adding more like filter, like touches to make it more dramatic, more filmic. For example, we have, let's see what we have. We have the convolution bloom, which is good. I want to do maybe, we readjust exposure, chromatic abbreviation. That's kind of cool. Let's increase it. That gives us this kind of distortion of the colors on the edges, which is nice. We can adjust, we can actually add a dirt mask. And for the dirt mask, I have downloaded this texture. It's kind of like a noise. So I'm gonna give this to the post process here. And this one is gonna do every time I get like a flare or something, we might see, oh, let's intensity. Let's do one. When we start seeing like a flare or something, we might see a really cool dirt on the lens. We don't see much in here, so let's keep moving on. Let's see, 2. I mean, I see it right now. It's mainly on the bright. So maybe when we have really bright lights here, we start getting that right here. Start getting kind of like that dirt in the lens. Let's take a look. Maybe we add a little bit of vignetting. And this increase the vignette intensity. Let's see, if we do 1, that's a little too much, so let's do 0.5. And I like the saturation, the overall saturation of this. I would like to bring the global saturation a bit. Let's do 0.4 to make it more like old school film. And as a matter of fact, we can probably do a little bit of gamma. Let's do also a little bit of gamma. Oh, that's too much. No need for gamma. I think I'm gonna do some grain. Let's do some film grain. So film grain, intensity. Let's pump it up. Just to get that nice film grain. And then maybe the size is too much of this film grain, so let's reduce it to 0.5. So here you go. This is basically what I show you. Like suddenly with lighting, atmospheric, and post-process volume effects, now you have this much more moody clip. Let's play it. Yeah, I like this one. So once again, I can go in and then let's create a level snapshot. Let's call this overcast drama. And I created this. And now I can just go switch back and forward between each one of those lighting conditions and then decide which one is actually fits better my story. Open level snapshot, we go into moonlight, double click, it's gonna say these are the difference, let's restore. So now we have here the night, or we can go back to any of the looks that you like the most. Cool, overcast drama. I'm gonna let Tony now cover how to render this sequence with Movie Render Queue. Tony, take it away.
So you've captured your characters, you've cleaned things up, you've got your VCams done, you've assembled some edits, and now you want to export this creation so that you can share it with the world. So the Movie Render Queue is the next step for that. So you're going to want to make sure that you look in the plugins and Movie Render Queue is enabled, because it may not be. If you used a template like we talked about, it would be, but if you just started a scene from scratch, you might not have it. So if you were to go into this little icon here, the dots, you can choose the render movie. So if you didn't activate it, you're going to see movie scene capture legacy, but you don't really want to use that. You want to use the Movie Render Queue. You'll have a lot more options. Okay, so let's click on this, and what it will show here is you will see the sequence Now, whatever happens to be loaded here, it will fill out here. So the sequence that you're running, in this case, it's ls UEFest here, level sequence, and then it's the map name here, right? So you put these in, and this is important because when it runs the movie render queue, it's going to load this map again, and it's going to load this level sequence. So if you don't have things saved in here, you're not going to get what you expect, right? So however you loaded the scene is how it's going to look. And sometimes you might have characters turn on or off because you hid them. So it's important to know you're not just rendering this scene, you are reloading this stuff, okay? So we can click the settings to get all the information for how this movie or image sequences is going to be exported. So by default, it's going to be a JPEG image sequence, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? The individual files. The deferred render is the default, and then it's going to give you pretty standard output directory, which is under the saved file in the project directory under movie renders. So this is kind of hidden. I don't like this. I prefer to choose a place to put my renders. So here, E renders, I can choose another folder just so you can know where it goes. And then by default, like I said, it's going to do a JPEG sequence. So you could do other types of sequences, but another option is that you can choose a command line encoder. And what the command line encoder is if you go to your project settings and you look at the command line encoder, if you download from the internet this ffmpeg.exe and you tell it the directory, this will allow you to create movies, MP4 movies, and it will automatically attach the audio, if you have it, into the movie. So this saves the step of having to generate a bunch of images, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of images, and then use something like Premiere or Movie Encoder to import all those, and then take the audio and line it up. This will, if you set this up here, and you have a video codec, which is LIBX264, you type in audio codec of the AAC and output files MP4. If you put this information here and you just choose command line encoder, it's going to render out the sequence. It's going to also take the wave audio here, you can add that too, and it's going to combine them together so you will get one movie file, an MP4 that has all your video and all your audio combined into one. So this is how it's very convenient to work. You can quickly look at versions. You can take that MP4 and then drop that into an edit if you want to. So this is very much a way that I recommend. And then once you have your settings, you can save them if you want to, preset, and accept. And when you do that, you can then render local. You could do remote if you had a farm set up, but render local is the common way. And it's going to load that scene up in the background. And it's going to go through, giving all your settings, and it's going to step through each frame of the video, every cut. And it's going to save those JPEG files out. And if you look at the hard drive, you'll see that the files are being written as it goes. It doesn't matter if you cover this. So these are being generated. And when all those files are done, it's going to run a command line script that uses ffmpeg and the audio file and merges them all into one. So we just have to wait. Sometimes, depending on your settings, this process can take longer. This is mostly real time, but if you wanted to get it to look really nice, you can really increase the motion blur quality settings, and this is where you can get something that is closer to a standard rendering approach. Okay, so then this is all exported. You'll wait because it's going to do some processing. It's running the batch process in the background. And then when it's done, you can go and find your video and see it somewhere down here. It's called lsuefest.wave or .mp4 right there. Then you can run it and check it out.
So Tony, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, so you want to render early and often. You want to make sure that you don't have any problems and you have no surprises.
Yeah.
And then you want to fail fast. You want to see your ideas, and if they don't work, just move on to new ideas, right? And get them in front of you as soon as possible.
Good point.
And then you don't want to worry about the small details. Like, you can make this much prettier later. This visualization process is just about getting the points across quickly, right? Mm-hmm. And then you want to think about where you want to do editorial. If you have an offline render that you're going to do in Premiere or something afterwards, you just need to make your sequences and render them out. If you want to do your editing and editorial in Unreal and see these shots, then you should spend more time learning how to do the camera cuts, right? And then during performance capture, make sure your frame rate is as high as possible. You don't want to be dropping frames when you're recording this stuff. And then understand what's important in each shot. There's going to be areas where you're not going to be able to see what's happening, so if a foot is clipping or something, don't worry about that, because the camera won't see it. And then I just want to give a special thanks to Road 2 Entertainment for letting us use this environment. It's amazing. And then Aaron Sims Creative has put this creature you see on the marketplace for free. So make sure you check that out.
Cool.
That's it.
Thank you.